Hey everybody, hope you guys are healthy and safe. So a lot of you guys have been asking me about this. This is the ZTE Axon 30 Ultra. To be honest, I'm quite excited to test this out too because one, I haven't tested a ZTE phone in several years, so I'm probably going to be not that familiar with the software, at least the software skin. Two, this phone actually has some interesting features, including triple 64 megapixel cameras. Now we've seen 64 megapixel cameras in the main lens, but this phone has a 64 megapixel zoom lens and an ultra wide lens too. So I'm excited to check that out. And also the refresh rate is 144 Hertz AMOLED, which we don't see often in a smartphone too, other than gaming phones. So anyway, let's do a quick unboxing. Alright guys, so I've been testing the ZTE Axon 30 Ultra for the past 3 hours now, and here are my early impressions. So let's go over the hardware really quick. You have a 6.7 inch 1080p AMOLED panel that refreshes at a maximum of 144 Hertz, but you can also set it to other refresh rates too, like 120, 90, 60, or auto. So auto will automatically adjust refresh rate depending on need, but you guys know me, I'm just going to leave it at 144 Hertz maximum, and the animations, everything look really smooth. Although the difference between 144 and 120 is quite negligible. Like, I can't really tell the difference if I'm being honest. This display looks pretty good, but it doesn't get as bright as the Galaxy S21 Ultra's display, at least under direct sunlight. But you know, this is a very harsh lighting condition right now. If I step indoors, the screen looks brilliant. Now, one thing to note is that despite the fact that this is yet another curved panel like we've seen 100 times already, ZTE chooses to curve the screen at a rather drastic angle. That, coupled with the fact that the top and bottom of the phone is completely flat, gives the phone a little bit of an angular vibe. If you look at it from the corner, it just feels a little bit more hard angles compared to something like a S21 Ultra or the Mi 11 Ultra, which are kind of rounded all around. Now looking around the back, like I said, you have a quad camera system. All three of these are 64 megapixel sensors, so ZTE calls it Trinity camera. So you have a main camera right here, 64 megapixel with an f1.6 aperture, so that's a wide open aperture that will pull in a lot of light. Up top, you have a 64 megapixel telephoto zoom lens that gives you a focal length equivalent of 35 millimeters, so about 2 times optical zoom. And over here, you have a 64 megapixel ultra wide angle camera. Now, all three of these 64 megapixel sensors actually do not shoot 64 megapixel photos. They pixel bin down to 16 megapixel photos. And down here, you have an 8 megapixel Periscope camera that offers 5 times lossless zoom. Now, in a vacuum, if I just look at the photos captured by the ZTE Axon 30 Ultra and just examine them, they look great. The ultra wide angle camera has a nice 121-ish degree field of view, and dynamic range is really good even when I'm shooting against harsh backlight. However, if I compare it against the S21 Ultra and the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra, then the cameras here slightly fall short. The S21 Ultra will have better zoom because it's a 10 times periscope zoom lens compared to the 5 times periscope zoom lens. And the Mi 11 Ultra's ultra wide has a wider field of view and even better dynamic range and colors. But I have to add that also, this phone right now is not running final software, so there will be software updates that come later that should improve camera performance. So right now, this is just an early impressions. And then around the front, you have a 16 megapixel selfie camera that seems to do a pretty good job so far. Now inside is a Snapdragon 888, of course, and either 8 or 16 gigs of RAM. And there's a 4,600 milliamp hour inside that can be charged via that included charging brick at 66 watt speeds. There does not appear to be wireless charging or IP water resistance rating in this phone. And of course, you have an in-display fingerprint reader that works pretty fast and pretty accurately. Now, this is my first time using a ZTE phone in several years. I'm happy to report that the software skin looks good. It's clean. You know, everything behaves as you'd expect. Now, when you swipe up, you see that you can actually cycle through apps via going through alphabets. I really like this feature right here. Unfortunately, this is only on the right-hand side of the notification shade and not on the left-hand side. In fact, this is a problem also in the camera app. When you jump into the camera app, you see the zoom dials on the right side. But that means if I hold the phone with my left hand like this, I can't really zoom with one hand. Now let's take a look at this camera app. This is quite a heavy camera app compared to other phones. So you have many different features as you cycle through. You have visual portrait, night mode, photo, video, and then from video, then you can tap up to bring up even more video shooting modes here. And then yeah, multi-camera that allows you to see 2 different viewfinders at the same time. Now zooming in and out is it's not super smooth so far, but again, this is not final software. I mean, it's not too bad actually, just not iPhone level. So yeah, you can max out at 60 times digital zoom, but at 60 times the photo is not too clean, just like every other zooming lens out there. But if you keep zoom under 20, I would say, like right now we're at 18.8, you still get a very clean, very respectable shot. Now digging into the settings panel is relatively clean looking. I like that everything is color coded. Now one more area where the ZTE Axon 30 Ultra differs from other Chinese phones like the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra is that this phone will sell in the United States unlocked. I believe the global launch event is set for May 27th. In fact, ZTE told me I cannot do a full review of this phone until May 27th. So that explains why this video is relatively short, relatively surface level. Rest assured, by May 27th, I will have a full in-depth review, including comparisons against all the other top phones. Anyway, so that's about it for this video on the ZTE Axon 30 Ultra. If you're interested in more content like this, please subscribe to my channel. I mean, you may notice that I'm probably the first English reviewer to get my hand on this phone. You know, it's not because I'm better than other reviewers, it's just because I live closer to where all the action is happening. So I get everything before people in the US or Europe do. So if you want to keep up to date with the latest releases, see the first videos, please consider subscribing to my channel or follow me on Instagram at Ben's Gadget Reviews. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.